You are now tuned in to your boy, Coach Tate. It's time to grow. Get it, bro. Get it. Let's grow. Yo, it's your boy, Coach Tate. Thanks for listening in again. My goodness. This is the second episode, and this is part 2 of asking for help, finding strength and vulnerability, right? So what does it mean to be vulnerable? When we're vulnerable, we put ourselves at risk, right? Risk of like emotional discomfort, risk of harm, right? Risk of pain. We put ourselves in risk. To be vulnerable can also challenge our growth, right? As much risk as there are, there's just as much growth in being vulnerable. For example, if I'm vulnerable and I'm being open and honest about my emotions and my feelings, a lot of people can learn from that and they can understand how I feel, how I relate to a certain situation. Whereas if I'm not being open and honest about my feelings or my emotions, and I'm not putting myself in that vulnerable state, like nobody's going to really know who I am. Nobody's going to really know how I feel about things, and no one's really going to care because I'm not open and honest, right? So when you're vulnerable, it helps to create this understanding with someone else. One of the things that, I've seen, especially in the mental health field, is people looking at vulnerability as a sign of weakness. Vulnerability is what you need to grow. It's not a weakness. It's what you need to grow. Because if you, like I said before, if you continue to shut down your feelings, shut down your emotions, and just, not risk anything, you're staying inside that comfort zone. That comfort zone does not inspire growth. If I'm looking to grow, I need to step outside my comfort zone. Whether it's centimeter by centimeter, inch by inch, or steps by steps, miles, whatever you have it. Like if I'm looking to grow, I need to step outside my comfort zone, because being in my comfort zone, I'm not taking any risks at all. And that's kind of like what vulnerability is. If I don't want to be vulnerable, I'm not taking any risk. I'm stuck in this comfort zone, and that's just me. That's how I am. When we practice vulnerability, I don't ever tell anybody jump fully into it. Be vulnerable. No, I don't do that. I don't even do it myself. All right. So when you're vulnerable, kind of get a feel of who to be vulnerable with, right? Be honest, be authentic, be you, be genuine, because the best person you can be is yourself, not what you feel other people need you to be. Okay? Because I like to say this: if you're trying to be what other people want you to be or need you to be, that creates a lot of expectations for you. But if you could show up as yourself, you already reduced the stress right there. All right? And be confident in showing up as yourself, not as what other people want you to be. So if I'm looking to grow, I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to be vulnerable towards risk. I'm going to be vulnerable towards pain. I'm going to be vulnerable towards many different possibilities of emotional discomfort. I'm going to be vulnerable towards it. And then I'm going to embrace it. Because I like to say this in mindfulness. It states an emotion is an emotion, a thought is a thought, right? Be in the present moment. It's okay to have these emotions. It's okay to have these thoughts. They're just thoughts. Don't judge yourself based on these thoughts. Don't judge yourself based on these emotions that you have. You know, if you feel anxious, if you feel frustrated, if you feel angry, if you feel upset, if you feel what else, sad, you know, if you feel lonely, these are emotions. Like, we need to really find strength in vulnerability, and that really challenges us to be open and honest. It challenges us to, you know, practice self-compassion, and it challenges us to surround ourselves with supportive people. Can't hang out with the same toxic crew that you've been hanging out with and expect support. You got to change that. Sometimes the best way to change it, and if those toxic people are in your comfort zone, we might have to change that too. Best way to change is by challenging that comfort zone. So, what happens if you're vulnerable? Well, I already told you. We grow. We start growing. We come out of that comfort zone. Um, it also it also helps to promote your natural authentic self. You're not then living for who you think others want you to be, or the expectations that others have for you. I don't know if anyone else has been in that category where you went to college and you did something that, you know, it wasn't for you. It was for someone else because of their expectations. You got to cut it out. Because if you're doing things for other people, you are not doing things for yourself. And that in turn leads to regret. That in turn leads to like long-term stressors, because you don't you it's not until you hit like 40 or 50 or something where you're going to be like, man, I should have done what I wanted to do and maybe I could have a career. And then by the time you hit 70, congratulations, you got another degree for what you wanted to do. I'm not taking that away from you, but if you're continually living for other people and other people's expectations, you're not being your true authentic self. So vulnerability helps you to practice that authenticity. It also authenticity, for those that correct me, it also helps to build empathy. Empathy is one of those things where it helps you to be able to understand others. It helps you to be able to develop like a deeper connection, and like just it provides that understanding in relationships. Not only that, while you're doing that, if you're vulnerable and you're showing other people how you can be vulnerable, other people are going to respond to your vulnerability, and it'll challenge them to be who they are. That's what we call reciprocity. Being vulnerable helps build intimacy. It also creates opportunities for you to receive support, because no one's mind readers. If you're looking for a mind reader, no one can tell you what to do and how to do. It's up to you to determine that. If you're looking for someone to tell you what to do, how to do, and when to do it, then you're in the wrong place. You're in your comfort zone. Your comfort zone tells you what, where, when, and how. outside of your comfort zone, it tells you to put that shit together so you can learn. So you can learn to be you. I'm using comfort zone a lot. That's finding strength outside our comfort zone. That's what I should have named it. Anyways, so next I want to talk about vulnerability and self-compassion, because I think self-compassion is important, especially when we're trying to find that strength in vulnerability. It challenges you to be kind to yourself. It challenges you to be supportive during your times of difficulty, during your times of stress. You know, it challenges your self-criticism. It challenges your inner thoughts, you know, your inner negative self-talk, your negative self-talk. That's what it challenges, right? So having that self-compassion for yourself is a strength in being vulnerable. No matter how many times you fail, that's only one step closer to success. Because now you know what to not do so you can keep moving forward. Babies just don't stop walking after they fall. They say, okay, I messed up that time. Now I know what not to do, until they get it right. Once they start running, then they run into a wall. They say, okay, now I need to learn how to slow down. So failure is one step closer to success. Being one step closer to success. No matter how many times you fail. Shoot, if I want to be honest, I failed a math class like 3 different times. Had to end up taking it at a different college. Success, I passed. Why? Because I learned math so many damn times, and every time I took the class, I got closer to an A. Or no, I didn't get closer to an A. I got closer to a passing grade. Let's be honest. All right. So, self-compassion helps you to practice self-kindness. It also helps to recognize like just basic things in like humanity, you know? For example, like recognizing experiences are just a part of humanity. We all have experiences. We all have situations, and that's okay. Don't isolate yourself because you had a messed up situation. So in the next portion of this podcast, I start to talk about CBT. CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy. It's a tool used amongst therapists. It's basically to help one recognize their thoughts and their emotions, right? So if you're able to recognize your thoughts and your emotions, it helps to build more self-awareness. And that's what CBT really is. All right, so let's get into it. I like to say this. If I go down the ABC lines of CBT, I'm going to say this. There's antecedent. Antecedent is our situation. There's behavior. Behavior is what we do, and there's consequence, right? In CBT, we have this. So our situation, I like to say situations are. So I know I said things beyond my control in this next little portion, but I really meant to say a situation is an event beyond my control. Now, if you ask me, how many of us got situations? You got a situation. I got a situation. We all got situations. Every day we step outside that door, there's a situation. Some of us may have situations in our favor. Others have situations not in our favor. For those who have situations not in your favor, raise your hand. For those who have situations in your favor, raise your hand. All right. So most people have situations not in their favor. I'm just going to say that. I can't even see you, but I can damn near tell you that you have situations that happen that are not in your favor. Sometimes it could be the death of a family member. On top of that, it could be losing your job. On top of that, you have to pay more money because your car just broke down, right? Situations that are beyond my control, and you cannot control any situation. All right. So it helps you, self-compassion helps you to recognize just the basic that everyone has situations and everyone experiences something. So a way to help with this self-compassion is to practice gratitude. How do you show yourself gratitude? A lot of people might say, I don't know. Well, gratitude, what's that? How do you show yourself gratitude, right? Show yourself gratitude for being vulnerable. Show yourself gratitude for accomplishing something or coming one step closer to something. Gratitude can be shown in the forms of self-care. So practice gratitude. All right. Also, seek support. If you are having a hard time building that self-compassion, ask for help. It's still okay to be vulnerable. It's still okay to ask for help. So to wrap this segment up, I'm going to say this. Step outside your comfort zone. Growth only takes place outside the comfort zone. Outside the comfort zone, you may feel stressed. You may feel emotionally disturbed, right? But that's where growth takes place. You can't grow if you're never triggered. You can't grow if you don't challenge yourself, right? So step outside that comfort zone. That inspires vulnerability when you step outside that comfort zone. If you stay inside that comfort zone, your vulnerability stays put. It goes nowhere. You go nowhere. You're not you if you ain't you. You get me? You're not you if you ain't you. It's your boy Coach Tate, and I'm out.